Welcome, everyone, to the Aurum podcast. We are so glad that you could join us this bright Saturday morning, where we have a chance to discuss stuff with you. I'm your host. My name is Anthony Kuria, and welcome to the show that discusses all matters regarding human capital. The Aurum podcast is hosted by Aurum consultants who are we are a HR and risk advisory consultancy, and we help businesses build winning teams. Today, I'm so glad that you could be able to join us. I have a cast of ladies here who are experts in their each one of them in their various fields, and we are excited they could join us because we are going to discuss some deep stuff today. Deep stuff that we've been discussing from the beginning of the month, and we want to keep delving deeper. And the deep stuff that I'm talking about is called employee welfare. Or, yes, employee welfare. I was about to say employee well being. Employee welfare, that's what we've been discussing this month. In the last 2 weeks, we looked at a few angles here and there. We tried to disseminate it better to be able to appreciate why is employee welfare so key to any organization. And as I keep saying, unless you have a company of robots who do not need to be cared for, their emotions, their this, their that, then employee welfare is something you as an entrepreneur, you as a business manager have to contend with. But before we go into the topic, let me introduce the cast that we'll be discussing with today. With me is the lead consultant at Aurum Consultants. Her name is Zipporah Kuria. Zipi, karibu sana.
Viewers.
All right, all right. And then from there we have the consultant whom consultants go to check. I like using that term. We refer. Sometimes we find out whether what you're saying is correct. We have our dear friend, a HR specialist. Her name is Martha Thuku. Welcome, Martha.
Thank you, Tony, and welcome, viewers. And as I always like to do, I like introducing where I work
Sure.
because we do some nice things that can benefit you. So I work with LVCT Health, a dynamic organization, and so we support the government on matters HIV. But on another angle, we are big in supporting the community with issues to do with mental health. And so, should you be in an organization where you don't know what to do with your staff, they have been stressed, especially during COVID, we observed there's a lot of stress. There's a lot of gender-based violence issues. If you know someone who has gone through these things, you can reach out to us and we will support you. You don't have to be alone to suffer this. Even families, they have gone through stress. People lost jobs. They need to talk to someone. We are the go-to people for you to sort these issues. The other thing we are doing mainly right now is that we are supporting organizations, especially NGOs. There's a new requirement by NGOs that we should be effective in matter safeguarding. And this really comprises of respect at workplace and acknowledging diversity. So we are lead in training this. If you don't understand these aspects, even sexual harassment issues, we are ready to train you so that you are able to implement this need that has come up with the NGOs. So still reach out through the contacts with Oram consultants. You will get to me and I'll be able to link you up with people who can sort you in this matter. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Martha. You're already beginning to talk about employee welfare. Martha, we have not done into it. That is so powerful. Thank you, Martha. Thank you, Martha. In addition, we have our dear friend, the founder and executive director of Amro Insurance Brokers, Madam Pauline Mwehia. Madam Pauline, karibu sana.
Thank you, Tony. I am very excited to be here today. Thank you for having me. As you
Yes.
have said, I'm Pauline Muhia. I run an insurance brokerage firm. We're right in the heart of Nairobi. We do
Yes.
risk transfer.
Mm.
We take care of your insurance needs. We do your risk analysis. We tell you where you're exposed. Yes, and we also do quite a bit of staff welfare. I think that will come in as we go on with this podcast. Thank you, Tony, again.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pauline. Indeed, as you've heard to our viewers to our viewers, today the theme of employee welfare is really getting in because both Pauline and Martha, as they have described their respective roles, has a bit to do, whether it's insurance, whether it is HR, has a lot to do with employee welfare. Because as I said in the beginning, if you don't take care of your employees, you better focus on having robots, running a company of robots to be able to handle matters. Because, we often, we are meaning employers, meaning entrepreneurs, you're focused on getting your business thriving and getting your performance, targets and all those kind of things. We often overlook the importance of employee welfare. We think that physical facilities and material comforts are adequate for employee welfare. But it takes more than that to keep the morale of the employees on a high and to make them fit to work. So today we are having a discussion, and to our viewers and listeners, kindly throw in questions, kindly throw in comments. We would love to sample them as we go, because this is a discussion that I don't think we can fit it in even within an hour's discussion. I mean, it's wide, it's broad, it's multifaceted, and therefore today, even as we bring in this discussion from a HR perspective, would appreciate comments coming in from our viewers and listeners. Now, to delve in into these matters of motivating employees to enhance their welfare, let me begin with this question, which I guess most entrepreneurs like Pauline probably will ask themselves: should employee welfare be of concern to employers? Martha, let me begin from you. From you are the HR specialist. Tell us, should employee welfare be of concern to employers? What's your take on that?
Thank you, Anthony. And yes, first I would want to define what is employee welfare. And
Mm,
I'd want to say is that those small things or any effort an employer puts to or
mm,
does for the employees to make their life worth living.
mm.
So it really um, works in their personal lives, but it reflects in the organization. And these
Yes.
things could be things like the fringe benefits, the
Mhm.
medicals, the whatever it is that you do, whether big or small,
Yes.
that touches on the employee. And I
Mhm.
can say that yeah, they should be a concern because they reflect so much on the organization. Like I
Mm,
have talked about matters mental health. Take for
mm.
example, you have this employee who really want to perform, but maybe they have a sick uh, dependent at home, and
Yes.
so you'll find that their mind will not be completely in the office if you have not medically covered them. Because now they
Uh-huh.
have to look for money to take their sick person to the hospital.
Mhm.
So their
Uh-huh.
attention is divided. But if there is a
Mhm.
medical, they will just present, the sick person will go to hospital and present the card, and they're paid for. And the employee is at work, all they're
Mhm.
getting is feedback on what is going on. So you see how that can come in. It
Yes.
also, so it really boosts employee morale. The
Okay.
fact that they are not absent, they
Yes.
they are not mentally and physically absent because they are well
Uh-huh.
taken off. And also, you'll find the organizations that do these employee welfare initiatives, you'll find
Yes.
their reputation outside there is positive. And you'll
Yes.
sign even for customer, if you do customer ratings in most
Mm.
organizations, some of the things that come up, then bring your organization high with customer rating, is the things
Mm.
that you do to your staff. So
Mm.
whatever it is you do to your staff, it can bring your customer ratings down, or it can lift up your customer ratings. In fact, what I realized is you will find, especially the high net worth staff that you want to employ,
Mm.
they would want
Mm.
to know what is at stake. What am I getting? So
Mm.
it's not just the salary.
Mm. Yeah,
There
that's
is
true.
the additions that they get in the organization. And one of the really the welfare thing is the culture and the climate of the organization.
Mm. Correct.
So you would want an employee who is happy because this organization has positive culture and climate. And most organizations that have positive culture and climates, you will find that they have those small little things, benefits that make the employee feel at home, want to
Yes.
be engaged, and to be productive. So you want a productive staff. You want you will find that you will experience stronger profitability, and
Mm.
because your employees are engaged and they feel like they belong. So even when they are putting their input is from a personal perspective, it is not
Mm.
what you have told them to do. It's just that they're happy to work here and they want the organization to excel. That's what I can say about that, and I'm sure ZP can add more. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Indeed, uh, you have spoken well about the issues of positive culture, a positivity, a deliberate policy to make the workplace, a conducive place to work in. That is where it begins in terms of employee welfare. The fact that you've been employed and you walk into this, either it's a workshop, whether it's an office, wherever it could be, the workplace is, the vibes are good. You're not just being paid a fat salary and people are looking at you like, dude, unajua nakulipa pesa mingi sana, hebu get to work haraka sana. That already you have not taken care of the psychological welfare of that employee. So the issue of positive culture comes in. But Zippy, if I could bring you into this, Martha has alluded certain benefits that come in. And probably some employers might not yet be at a place where they can, for example, give medical cover, for example, for their staff. Uh, what do you say about, you are an employer, you want to give, you want to take care of employee welfare, and probably you're not at the level where you're giving the perks that are given by the big shots, the big corporates that are out there. What would you say? How would it be? How would such an employer take care of employee welfare without feeling like, I'm being outmuscled in this? What's your take on this?
Thank you, Anthony, for that. And I will agree with Martha on what she has said about employee welfare because it's not about the salary. Because when you engage me as an employee, of course, the first thing I expect is for you to pay me a salary and remunerate me.
Mm,
But there's
sure.
more to employee welfare than just the money that we give our employees for working for us. And just talking from a business perspective, not even as an HR, we have to
Mm,
remember these employees, like I said the last week, they spend a lot of time, a lot of their active life at the workplace. So we need to
mm,
be very careful to take care of their well-being, their psychological well-being, their financial well-being, their social well-being. The small things that we don't think they matter or they make a difference. We need to think about what can we do, and because the primary objective of the employee welfare is to make sure their well-being is taken care of. They are happy to be, coming to work every day. And there are many ways you can look at this,
mm,
Anthony. And sometimes when we talk about employee welfare, the
yes.
first thing that goes into our heads is budget. I don't have the budget to do this. But sometimes it's simple things like understanding what are the pain points of my employees, what really bothers them the most, what makes them not
Mm.
tick, what makes them feel discouraged when they come to work. Mother has talked about,
Mm.
the work environment. A lot of times we create a culture that the work environment is not conducive. And we need to take a lead as business leaders and make sure the work environment we are creating is a conducive work environment. It's not an environment
Mm.
where people are working under threats all the time. It's not an environment
Mm.
where people come and they're afraid. When they make
Yes.
a mistake, they actually will cover up for it. They will not come out and say, I have messed up, I need help, what can we do? And this actually contributes to their psychological well-being. And I'm sure mother will agree to this, where, if I'm always coming to work and I'm so stressed, psychologically, I will not be there. And this actually reflects on the employee's performance at the end of the day. So something
Mm.
simple like that, creating a conducive work environment, you don't need money to do that. It's about the
Mm.
way engage your employees, the way you talk to them, is the way you get in the morning when you come as a executive director, as a MD, do you walk in and everyone is in a corner thinking the boss has arrived? Or are you, when you come in, are people excited to see you that you have walked in and, they are
Mm.
happy to say hi? They are happy to update you where they're at. Small, simple
Mm.
things like those, I think they do create a conducive work environment. There are other areas we can look at. Like I see, we do this a lot,
Mm.
celebrating employees' milestones,
Mm.
Um, when an employee has gone back to school, they have gotten, a certificate and they've come back, celebrating that milestone with them, appreciating that they're making that extra effort. It's
Mm.
their wedding anniversary, it's their birthday. There are simple
Mm.
ways of send a message, automate, find a way to automate sending birthday
Yes.
messages to employees on their phones, and
Yes.
it means you care because it's a small,
Mm.
simple thing, but it matters to them. I'm reminded of the other day, we had one of our staff who was celebrating their birthday and we sent them a birthday cake. And it was very funny because, they say they've never received a birthday cake in their entire life,
Ever, ever.
ever they had never received a birthday cake. And for me, I mean, that was, it was touching that, we have
Mm.
thought about them and we have, done something that, reminds them someone appreciates you, someone cares
Mm.
about your well-being. I've
Mm.
seen other things we do, for instance, like what we do as HR consultants, as HR managers. Our work involves dealing with people. And
Mm.
I'm telling you, you get to hear a lot of stressful things. You get to deal with a lot of challenges,
Mm.
challenging
Yes.
scenarios. You get sometimes to get to a situation where you are firing someone from their job. Someone is
Mm.
losing their livelihood, not because you want to fire them, but probably they've done something so bad that requires you to summarily dismiss them. Maybe
Mm.
is you are working in the NGO environment where donor funding is not there, and you are forced to have to declare people redundant. As an
Yeah.
HR, you go home and you're so stressed, and you're stressed not because it's your problem really necessarily, but from a psychological perspective, you are
Mm.
concerned about this person who has just lost their livelihood. They have a family to take care of. And
Mm.
we have to create an environment where those HR managers, those HR officers, they have to go and ventilate. They have to go and talk to someone, be listened to, and say, "This is stressing me. This is what I'm going through." And for us,
Mm.
something simple like partnering with LVCT Health and say, "Look, this is a service we need. We don't know when we will need it, but it's available for our team. If someone feels I need, they will
Mm.
very quickly walk to LVCT, talk to a counselor, and be able to ventilate whatever challenges they're going through." So there's a lot of
Yes.
ways we can be able to just come in and make sure the work environment is conducive. We are taking care of the basic needs of the employees. And I think for the business people, I would ask, um, find out what is the basic needs of your people, not
Mm.
necessarily monetary needs, but what are the psychological needs, what are the social needs. When you're sending that employee on leave, You know, are you going to keep on calling them, or is there a clear plan that when they go, you allow them to go and be with their family? It could be a lot
Mm.
of work plans. You'll probably find they've only gone for a week or 2 weeks. Can we be able to allow them to actually be away for those 2 weeks without
Mm.
necessarily having to distract them? You know, small, simple things that sometimes we don't think they matter, but they matter.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you, Zippy. Those are very big points that you've brought in regarding employee welfare and motivating employees to enhance. Today we are discussing about employee well-being and specifically about motivating employees to enhance their welfare. To enhance their welfare so that we motivate them to feel them. Okay, look, you're working for X and Y company. Here you are. Beyond your salary, we are creating a culture that enables you to thrive and enables you now to be motivated to keep producing. Now, we may be talking a lot of theory, and here we have Madame Pauline. She's at the sharp end. She's the founder and director of a brokerage firm. And Pauline, you will tell, I am sure you, as you know, insurance brokerage is not for the faint-hearted. It is eat or be eaten. You either sink or swim. So, in such a fast-paced, demanding environment, what is your experience handling employee welfare when the results need to be brought in? You need to close business. You have targets to meet. You have competitors who want to eat your market share. And here somebody is telling you, Madam Pauline, please take care of your welfare. Tell us from your experience, how do you balance that? Because you are what many entrepreneurs, you're representing many entrepreneurs right here who are wondering who, in this environment, especially post COVID, they have a lot of things to think about. And here we are talking about employee welfare. Tell us, what is your experience on this matter?
Thank you, Anthony. When I think about employee welfare, I think that when we come from our homes to our place of work, we bring the human being to work. We are human beings. We have things
Yes.
we have gone through at home. There are things we are still experiencing. The circumstances in the country, probably post COVID. Now we are having high rates of inflation. We are having to pay more for cooking oil.
Mm,
We
true.
bring that mind to work. I look at it like a wounded employee will
Mhm.
actually leak, and they will leak not
Uh-huh.
only in their own lives, they will leak
Mm,
on the job. So production
mm,
will be
mhm.
like Anthony is saying, we are running with targets. Have we met our targets? So if a leaking
Mhm.
employee is working for you, I can tell
Mhm.
you it will show. It will be very clear.
Mm,
So I
mm,
think it is very, very important as employers that we take care of our employees, their welfare, um, just to be able to show that we care, but also to help them manage whatever they're going through.
mm,
From the conversation between ZP or what they said before, Martha and ZP, it has come out very clearly that it's the little things that really matter. I
mm,
was reminded the other day by my staff that we have not
mm.
that
Okay.
shows I care, that says I have noticed that you have done this differently, that shows that
Mm,
really somebody noticed.
mm.
You know, I want somebody to notice when I've done something that is not the usual. I've done something extra. So I
Yes.
think for companies to run, for companies to grow, and even as we try to help our staff achieve and really value and take care of themselves, we need to help them really recognize that they are a very important part of this organization. They're actually the reason the organization is there. So there are
Mm,
key actually I call it the major factor. If the staff of Umbro left, I'm stuck. My staff are stuck. So we must
mm.
take care of our staff in a way that they're also able to take care of our customers. Because if we don't take care
Yes.
of our customers, then we are not in business. We have no food
Yeah.
on our table.
Mm,
Employee welfare is a key major concern, especially now. We had a training, allow me to say this, on mental
yes.
health, and Martha brought it out because of the
Mm,
things that we are doing now. we are going through as individuals. It
Mm.
was so touching for me because they came back and said, "Can we have that again? How do we
Mm.
issues in life? How do we manage? How do I know how to handle my daughter and my family and the expectations that are imposed on me with my salary? How do I manage that and still
Mm.
manage to deliver?" So it is key. It is key, and it doesn't have to be the major things that are expensive that will require you to rob a bank.
Yes.
The case you give your employee card, a lunch with the boss, just
Yeah.
to discuss what
Yeah.
is going
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
What is it that is going through your mind? I have noticed you're a bit down, or hey, let's have lunch. I noticed you brought in this new client. Those small
Mm.
things that you do. I realized even a clap in a meeting.
Mhm.
Let's
Yeah.
applaud. It
Yeah.
goes a long way because
Wow.
because because we are human beings. We want to be appreciated. We want to somebody to notice. Yeah. So
Mm.
employees welfare is very important, and as employers we need to engage in our own creative ways on how do you do this, how do we even sometimes ask. The other day,
Mhm.
Oram helped us understand what our staff really appreciate. And we were asked, what would you recognize as a reward?
Mhm.
And it came out that, hey, she used to give us cards. Thank you cards. We no longer receive them. And
Ah.
I'm here. How do we raise these salaries? Zippy. Yeah, so sometimes ask what would look like a reward to you.
Mm.
Yes,
Wow.
I think
Wow. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah. So before we come to the financial bit of it, because if we are going to give a medical insurance, life
Mm.
insurance, we're going to take labor and group personal accidents, that will require uh, financial planning, and it is
Mm.
also very very important because it's taking care of that which is important to the employee, my child, my husband.
Mm.
I will come to work knowing that if anything happened, I am cushioned. So I have a
Mm.
peace of mind. Yeah, so it
Mm.
requires financial planning. It's also very, very important. But where do we start in our own way? What are the things that we do daily to approve
Mm.
so that we have happy employees working for us?
Mm. Wow. 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 Wow, Madam Pauline, you have put it. Any entrepreneur out there, if you're running a business, trust me, you've heard it from one of your own. One who runs a business, he runs a brokerage, and trust me, you go to this brokerage, you will realize, yeah, it's not just the usual insurance brokerage you see there. They take care of the employees more than just about productivity. And Pauline, you've said a few things here that I actually even wrote them down because I thought these are deep. How many entrepreneurs out there know that taking one of your staff for lunch, ile tu you want to appreciate them, not tell them, okay, I want to find out how you're doing. Either it could be a way to motivate, to show the well-being, caring, motivating of your employees. By whoever is the star performer of this month, they get a chance to go for lunch with the boss. Trust me, that's a big deal. Yeah, that's a big deal. Trust me, that makes that employee, walk in the clouds, as it were. Yeah, it's taken, and you don't have to worry about the bill. The boss said, look at the menu, what you want to eat. They ate and they discussed. Trust me, they come out of that lunch feeling, yeah, today I can run through a brick wall for this company. That's a very intelligent way of handling it. Even smaller things like thank you cards, a clap during meetings. Umetoa point ya nguvu mazee. We are like, yeah, come on. That was good. Trust me, those small intangibles make a very big difference to employee welfare from an employer's perspective. And that's something I want to speak to the employers right here, to the decision makers. As you send in your questions and comments, your fellow employer, your fellow entrepreneur has said something very powerful that you do not have to imagine. Yes, the WIBA, the group medical, group personal accident, group life, those are important and those are good. And as budgets come, it's important to put this in place. In fact, we were saying one of the things that we'll discuss probably in the next podcast is probably the statutory requirements of employee welfare. And they are there, but there are those intangibles. The clap in a meeting, the recognition, hey, you gave a good point. The appreciation, hey, is there a problem at home? And, thank you cards. But I've never received a thank you card anywhere. I hear this concept out there. I hear this thing out there. I hear, hey, people get thank you cards, and I'm wondering, what is a thank you card? You know, so so these are things that as entrepreneurs, as employers, as business managers, you can incorporate into them to motivate your employees in their welfare. Now, our time is really going, but bado mambo ni moto. I want to bring now the second thought. From Pauline's perspective and other entrepreneurs, they always think about the bottom line. Zippy is also in the same way. You're thinking about the bottom line. At the end of the day, nimepatia watu ma thank you cards mingi sana. How does it, my profitability? Am I becoming a feel good employee, mushy, cuddly organization? What is the contribution to the bottom line? So, Zippy, let me start with you. How does employee well-being contribute to the bottom line? Kindly give us your views briefly.
No, Anthony, I don't think you can be able to withdraw or
Yes.
harvest where you have not planted.
Okay.
When
Okay,
you
that's
plant,
good.
you
Yeah.
have to water, you
Uh-huh.
have to add fertilizer, you
Mhm.
have to, what do you call
Weed.
it? Palilia.
We
You have, yes, you have to weed, you have to prune before you get to a place of harvesting.
Mm.
And it's the same thing. When you're taking care of the employee, when you have engaged that employee, they are the bare minimums that you need to do. You need to give
Mm.
them their salary, you need to give them a conducive working environment, which a lot of times we think we are doing, but if we were to ask our employees, we'll probably be
Yes.
so surprised at the feedback we get. And this is
Mm.
something, and I would say as an employer, because I am one, I need to
Yes.
be willing to hear that feedback from my employees so that I can be able to improve. Because if I
Mm-hmm.
bury my head in the sand and I don't want to hear their views, then who
Mm.
am I lying to? I'm lying to myself because
Mm.
they
Yes.
already are inside the organization and they understand how the organization is run and they have their own nuances, they have their own views of what is
Mm.
happening and probably what is not happening right. So I would
Mm-hmm.
say when you're taking care of your employees, it will definitely affect your bottom line in a positive way. On the other
Mm.
hand, if you don't take care of them, they will do the bare
Mm-hmm.
minimum. And guess what will
Yes.
happen? It's your
Mm-hmm.
business that will suffer. It's your customer
Yes.
that will not be served well. It's your customer that will go home, unhappy. And I'm sure all of us we have experiences where you have gone
Yes.
somewhere to a company or you have gone to a shop and the way you have been treated was not good and you did not want to go back to that company. And where is
Mm.
that all coming from? So, if as an employer, I can take keen interest to understand the things that are happening and what I can do around them so that it doesn't affect my bottom line, I think that would be a very big plus. So, I will say whatever you deposit will highly contribute to what you harvest at the end of the day. And that
Mm.
is the productivity of the employee, the turnover rate, the employees being engaged. It's a sum of it, of how you treat them,
Mm.
from giving them their basics, their salaries, paying their salaries on time. It's a welfare
Yes.
issue. Pauline has
Mm-hmm.
just talked about inflation. Imagine food prices have skyrocketed and this employee lives from one paycheck to another and their salaries don't come on time. And I know sometimes as business people, we go through a lot of challenges. Cash flows are not there to be able to pay these salaries. But it's also
Mm.
important for us to put ourselves in the shoes of these employees and
Yes.
understand they have needs. They have to feed their children. They have to do this. Sometimes as business people, probably we know how to figure out one or two things and our families are fed. And
Mm,
that's the truth. But are we thinking about this employee whose salary has been paid on the 15th, the 20th of the month? What have they
yes.
been eating? You know, it's a basic need. It's about their own welfare and the welfare of their families. So I'm
Mm,
saying, as employers, we need to be very careful. We need to be concerned. It needs to be our problem, because if it's not our problem, it will, at
mm,
the end of the day, show with the results. And the results is whether the business is making profits, whether the business is being productive, and whether we are making any difference or we are adding any value to our customers.
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Zip, you've brought some very deep stuff there. You've brought things that, you know, you harvest what you have sown. You know, and that principle works everywhere, from farming to the office space. So, Martha, briefly from your end, how does that, from your, your perspective, your HR manager in a sizable organization, how do you see it playing out? How does employee well-being contribute to the bottom line?
Some of these things depend really from employer to employer,
Mm,
and the culture that organization has embraced.
yes,
Um, so for the financial ones, some employers actually think
yes,
or associate it, the costs thereof. They
mm,
associate them as denting or a loss in the profits.
yes,
And in real sense, this is not so,
mm-hmm,
because where there are great employee benefits, you
yes,
attract and motivate and engage employees. And the
mm,
most important thing is that that works with the bottom line, because an
yes,
engaged, a motivated employee will always work for you. Like I say, it's so
yes,
good to work for an organization like my own.
yes,
Like people go out of their way. You see people working even late, and they don't mind. Maybe in
yes,
your contract you have put a 40 hour, but you'll find other organizations when it hits five, if someone was writing and they have a customer in front, they put
yes,
the phone the pen down, and it's
disappear.
time.
Yes,
So it's really a balance, and employers needs
mm,
to know this, that there are some costs that are not really, they are not negative to the bottom line.
mm,
We from my years of work, I've had people at oh, HR is a cost center. Even when there is bonuses, we are given little because, and they are not thinking that the things that are done from the HR are the ones
mm,
that are actually causing these profits to come,
yes, 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 yes,
because the
yes,
initiatives are really uh,
yes,
concerning the staff personal life.
yes,
Some of the managers are so they don't even understand a staff. In fact, there are sometimes I wonder, is
yes,
this manager a human being? Does he experience the things we experience? You know, as
yeah,
here, do
mm,
they experience that? Is there a day they go home and there is no gas? Or
yes,
is there a day they go home and
yeah,
the children are crying for nothing?
mm-hmm,
you
yeah,
know, because then
mm-hmm,
they separate themselves from this
yes,
thing and are really strictly on targets and profits, not
yes,
knowing who is this person bringing profits and how do you want that person to work for you. So
mm,
some of the things, maybe they must you must experience some costs. You,
mm,
as Zippy has said, and I think it's in the Bible, you cannot
mm.
reap where you have not
Sown,
sown.
yeah,
So some of them will affect your finances, and
yes,
others will just affect your time,
mm,
which is also costly.
yeah,
But
true,
then the bottom line is that you have a very engaged workforce
mm,
who even if you travel, you are not concerned because you know, with Martha, there things are okay.
Yes.
You
Mm.
get. So you
Yes.
can even be able to do your work-life balance
Yes.
because you have people who their heart is this full. And you know, you will always know a staff who has you at heart.
Mm. Mm. That's true.
And the executives miss this. I have
Mm.
given you a job and they want to finish there at the job.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can pass a staff and you don't even say good morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you enter with a straight face, you know, like, oh, mdosi ameingia, you know. You know those small things, and Zippy pointed them out, so I don't want to point them out. There are
Yeah.
time, some may not need money, they may need
Mm.
time. I
Yes.
remember my previous employer had come up with something called Heart of Gold, a name
Mm.
and then Heart of Gold. So if you're a manager and you're happy with my work, you just give me that heart of, you write, hmm,
Mm.
heart of gold to Martha because of this, you achieved this, I'm happy, you know. And
Mm-hmm.
so you can imagine if you got that from the executive director. We used to pin them next to us so that when you enter my office, you see, oh, I have gotten the director's heart of gold. You know, very small
Yeah.
thing. The other thing we used to do is we had this service, it was called years of service. So if
Mm.
you're 1 year, you get a certificate and you get something. And now, how we had done it, it used to take time because during our staff retreat, we used to get a whole afternoon to do
Mm.
kind of to plan and do something nice like a bash. And
Mm.
during this bash is where we'll give this
Mm.
certificate. And how would
Mm.
we'll even put a red carpet. So
Come
if I
on.
call your name, Tony, if I have your certificate, you can walk to the red car. You know, now there's a day it had not hit me how that thing is
Yes.
important to staff
Mm-hmm.
until we had a staff retreat and we didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
The staff even have clothes they put on that night.
Hi, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So by the time I was getting to my office, my email inbox had filled. Hmm? That
Why?
why did like another guy called me? Do you know what jacket I had carried?
Hey.
It hit me. Oh, this thing is so important. So from then
Yeah.
on, that thing I never played with it. In fact, I
Uh-huh.
even arranged more. So it became a real bash, and after that we danced. So
Wow.
that
Hey.
organization, even today, people keep talking about it because
Wow.
in fact, it won this certificate from a global organization that went around Kenya.
Mm.
They never came to us, they went to the staff and asked about their organization. And
Mm.
suddenly, I'm finding an email, we have been nominated as the great place to work. And then
Wow.
now we will be the leaders. We will be having meetings with other organizations to tell them what we do to make our employees say we are the great place to work. So
Wow.
you can imagine how employees can make your reputation
Or break
for
it.
you. Yes,
Mm.
or break it. So can
Mm.
you imagine if it was on the negative, what they could have said?
Son. Hey.
So those small things, they hit the bottom line.
Yeah.
They really hit the bottom line. If you're
Yeah.
in service industry, like my friend here,
Mm.
and you have served a customer or an organization, you know what we do? We normally, by the time we are choosing the next broker, we normally first do a survey with our staff, how they have been
Mm.
treated in the course of
Mm.
their life in the medical by our
Mm.
broker and the medical organization. What will
Mm-hmm.
the staff say? Because now that is not me. I'll
Mm.
work with what the staff are
Say.
saying. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
and because your organization, the climate of your organization is the one who will affect your customers'
Mm. Mm.
organization.
Mhm.
Because if your staff are not happy, they will not treat my staff happy. So when my staff
Mhm.
are giving feedback, there's no way I can work with you in the following year. I'll wait for
Wow.
the medical year to end and look for another person. So,
Wow.
so customer ratings can either go low or high based on those small things
Mhm.
that you do. You shout at your staff, or
Mhm.
because everyone can make a mistake, including you.
Yes.
So, is there a way that you can deal with mistakes? Yes, I know I have done a mistake, but I'm not going home feeling ripped off and put
Yeah.
down. Or is there a
Mm.
way we can deal with that issue and leave me at a high place so that when I
Mm.
go home, I'm knowing myself that, oh no, I need to watch here,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
promise you next time I'll not make mistake. So those
Mm.
are small things. And as I said, it's an organization culture issue and
Mm.
environment. And maybe it's in your mind as an executive, you may think that your organization is well. You need to find out. So you need
Mm.
to have those bottom up conversations,
Yes.
because so that's the only way you'll hear, and you need to listen a lot.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
that you
Wow.
hear what your employees, what are they saying? You
Yeah.
could be thinking, yeah, we are good. But what
Yes.
are your employees saying? You see, like Tony has said, he has never received a clap.
Yeah, man. No
And
collab
maybe
for
his
me.
manager thought he's the best man. That manager was the,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
there's something we used to call Johari widow. We would do what you think about you and what other people think about you. They can
Mm.
really be like this.
Divergent. Yeah, that's true. Wow. Yeah.
You can think that I think about you nicely, but if I'm told to write what I think about you, you look at it,
Oh my.
you know. So
Yeah.
that's why organizations need to even do those Johari widows for the
Mm.
executives, so
Mm.
that you get to hear what your staff are saying, so that you
Mm.
improve. Thank you very much.
Wow. Huh. That is serious. Martha is really bringing it, for entrepreneurs like Pauline and Zippy here. I'm sure you're hearing things that, first of all, are very inspiring. And I like the fact that, simply, you're going for, as end of year bash, and within the bash, people have chicken, they have what they're eating nicely, but they are looking forward to walking the red carpet in front of the employees to receive a certificate. As in, without that, wamesahau ile kukuliwa pekia, wamesahau ile, they have forgotten even the exotic place you took them to. They just wanted to look nice with their jacket or their dresses to walk in front of their peers to receive a certificate. Yani, if you're an entrepreneur listening to us here, umejisikilia. You even need to take them, Elon Musk, to book Elon Musk to take them to space so that they can feel, a hand clap. A, a hand clap. Guys, let me hear from Madam Pauline. Madam Pauline, you are at the sharp end. That's why we invited you here, because we may be speaking things pie in the sky. You being the entrepreneur, you're telling us, hey guys, hey, let me bust your balloon. Let's come back to earth and speak realistically. From your perspective, as we come to a close, how does employee welfare contribute to the bottom line? You having been an entrepreneur for a while, how does that statement work? What's your view?
Thank you, Anthony. We all open our businesses to grow. We want to have more customers. We want to have more impact. We want to use the tools that God has given us to impact the society. When I look at the tool of insurance here, we're talking about serving individuals, having organization, corporations. The only people who can do that are the employees.
Mm.
So if we grow our employees, eventually our businesses will grow. If we grow our businesses, it means our customers are also growing. So it's a circle, it's a
Mm.
circuit that has to
Mm.
to run. The deposit, and I like the analogies given by the ladies. The analogy of what deposit are you putting in these employees? Or are you doing more withdrawals than depositing? Are you feeding them more than you're demanding? And that is where we need to find the balance. Until we find that balance, our businesses will struggle. We will be stuck in a place that is, we are okay, but we are not getting where we want to go. Why? Because we may be demanding more than we are giving them. We may be asking them to sell a product that they really are not, they're really confident about it because you have not trained them what really this product is. So we need to do more it for our employees. We need to empower them. We need to take care of the human being in them. We need to listen to them, like Madam Martha has said. Communication. We must be able to listen and really to see where do we bridge the gap. We may not be able to do everything, but what can we do? What affects employees? How can we empower them? How can we talk to them? How can we let them know that what you're doing is important? You know, how it impacts, we must also train them how it impacts the society, you know, because I think everybody wants to contribute. We want to contribute in our own individual roles. We want to be contributing to the society. We want to feel that there's something important we're doing. But how do we deliver so that the bottom line is not affected? Yes. So it's just like an ATM. How much are you depositing and how much are you withdrawing? If you withdraw, you withdraw without depositing. You will soon run out. So you find employees have nothing to offer. They are feeling frustrated. So my encouragement to employers is let's do what we can. Let's try to go outside and really listen to our employees so that we know what they want. I love the red carpet. I wish I was one of those employees running, walking down. That just makes me feel important. Many of our offices don't have the red carpet. Maybe that's the only time I've walked on a red carpet, and that is important to me. So find out what is important to our employees. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Man, those are the fastest 52 minutes that I have encountered this year. I mean, it's been, in fact, I had 3 points that I wanted to discuss, and I've just finished the second one, and our podcast has gone beyond by several minutes. That tells you that this topic of employee well-being, from an employer's perspective, how to motivate is a big deal. And to our viewers and listeners, as you can see, there are many ways you can be able to motivate your employees. Yes, obviously, you have to expend a bit of energy, a bit of time, a bit of money to be able to do it, but you do not have to break the bank to be able to do it. Unfortunately, I cannot be able to ask the third question or the third point that I had because our time is really gone. And therefore, to our viewers and listeners, if you would like to get in touch with us, you'd like to know, Madam Pauline said something very powerful about insurance. You'd like to know more about it. Madam Martha spoke a thing or two about mental health and those inspiring ideas on motivating employees. And we here at Aurum Consultants, being our motto being helping to build winning teams, you'd like to know more. How do I handle this employee well-being aspect? Probably, as Madam Paulina said, you've been doing a lot of withdrawals, and now what work on empty. Yesterday I was told by a friend as I close, he's a manager in an insurance company, by the way. He was telling me that right now the company is undergoing staff, and he was telling me yesterday everybody was waiting if it's 5 p.m. Pop! Even if they were talking, the pen drops and close the computer and vamoose! 5 p.m. Friday evening. Man, I don't want to be here. No, so when Martha was describing that, I remembered my friend was like, wow, I hope things settle where my friend works. Because kama watu wanataka kuvamoose 5 p.m. Yani they are like 5 for 1, what am I doing here? That's not that tells you something about that place. I'm not saying that their welfare is bad, but that tells you something. So with that said, if you'd like to know more, how do you get your employees to stay at 5 p.m. On a Friday evening because you have created, kindly get in touch with us via the contacts at the bottom of your screen, telephone, WhatsApp, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. All those contacts are at the bottom of your screen. We would love as Sarum consultants to help you strengthen and improve your employee well-being in order to see that your top line and the bottom line financial performance improves. Thank you very much, Madam Pauline, for coming to join us. I have had some insights there. Lunch with the boss, a clap, a thank you card. Those are things that I'm sure even our viewers have heard and listened and enjoyed. Martha, thank you very much for the usual great insights that you bring in. Today we have heard about a red carpet. Yeah, some of us would wish, some of those people, Martha, who are walking on that red carpet, were imagining the Uhuru Kenyatta inspecting a guard of honor. And you refuse to give them a chance. To they're not even a catwalk. Some of those guys in those jackets were imagining they are commander in chief of the armed forces. You're inspecting your troops, your fellow colleagues. Yeah, I've learned something today that's a big deal. Just having a red carpet in a in not necessarily in an office, but in a function where people are being appreciated by their fellow employees. That this is what we've done. Thank you very much, Martha, for that. Zippy, thank you very much for, as usual, our in-house HR consultant giving us insights that are anchored on reality, but help companies go ahead well. And to you, our viewers and our listeners, thank you for taking time to be with us. We really appreciate taking your Saturday morning to come and join us. We really appreciate you. And we say, God bless you. Join us same time, same place next week. We'll still be discussing employee welfare. We'll be looking at a different aspect of employee welfare. And I'm sure, as you've seen today, this is a deep and rich conversation. So don't miss. Next week, next Saturday, 9 a.m. Make a point of joining us. Thank you very much, and God bless you.